Welcome to the deep dives, where we try to cut through the noise, bring you the most important nuggets of knowledge from, well, quite a stack of sources sometimes.
Mm,
Today we're plunging into Aliful Jannah. It's described as an introductory guide to Islamic knowledge and practice.
right. And it's interesting because it's not just theory, is it?
Yeah.
It presents this remarkably practical, really structured path to understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
And what immediately stands out, I think, is the author's motivation. It's very personal. You see it right there in the dedication.
Yeah.
It's a heartfelt tribute to his parents, Abdullah and Isa too, mentioning how their faith inspired him. And then he dedicates it to his own family too, aiming to instill these profound teachings.
And that really sets the tone, doesn't it? It feels very grounded from the start.
It does.
He also wisely acknowledges some common challenges students run into, things like, maybe unqualified teachers or a weak grasp of basics.
Yes, and also just a lack of consistent effort. He points that out too.
Right, so you realize straight away this guide is kind of designed to fill those gaps directly.
Precisely. It's
Yeah.
like providing a clear, actionable pathway,
Yeah.
almost like a well-thought-out syllabus, maybe built on years of teaching experience to help you navigate what can feel, well, pretty overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that. So our mission then in this deep dive is to unpack the core principles, the practical lessons presented here,
Mm-hmm.
from self-reflection, which we'll get into, and basic Arabic literacy, right through to the details of daily prayer and reciting the Quran.
And we're looking at how Aliful Jannah helps learners like you build that solid understanding. It offers a kind of shortcut, maybe, to being well-informed, but also fostering a deeper connection.
Genuine connection, yeah. Okay, let's unpack this. There's a section I found really powerful right at the start, this direct approach to self-assessment.
Ah, the 7 questions.
Yes, it kicks off with 7 surprisingly practical questions for self-reflection. They're not abstract or philosophical, are they? They feel like they're for real daily accountability. Listen to these. Am I following Allah and His Messenger and not my desires? That's a big one.
Huge.
Am I consistently seeking Islamic knowledge? Do I perform my 5 daily prayers on time?
Mm-hmm. Keeping you honest.
Totally. Do I obey and help my parents? Am I nice and helpful to others? Am I eating halal and healthy food? And this one surprised me a bit. Do I engage in regular exercise?
It's that holistic view, isn't it? This introspective beginning is, I think, really profound. Before you even get into the technicalities of faith or practice, the book asks you to check your internal compass.
Right.
It grounds the whole learning journey in personal accountability and purpose. It's not just about what you know, but how you live. And emphasizing well-being, like diet and exercise, as part of spiritual growth. That could be a real aha moment for people. It redefines spiritual discipline.
It really does. It connects your whole life to your values right from the start.
Exactly.
So that makes perfect sense. It gives you this clear, actionable framework for, well, personal and spiritual growth. A path to accountability, continuous improvement.
Connects the what to the why, really making you reflect on your actions before you even learn the rules, so to speak.
Yeah, it sets the foundation.
Okay, so from that personal foundation, Aliful Jannah then smartly pivots to mastering the language itself, Arabic.
Right. And the book makes a pretty bold promise here.
It really does. It says if you master its 7 foundational lessons, you'll be able to read Arabic fluently, independently, even the entire Quran. That's huge.
It is bold, yeah, but it's built on a very structured, progressive method. A lot of beginners hit a wall with Arabic. All those new letters, the sounds. It feels like a mountain.
Totally.
But this book tackles that head on. It breaks it down into these 7 manageable lessons, turns that mountain into maybe a series of climbable hills.
Okay, I like that analogy. So how does it start breaking down something like a whole new alphabet?
Well, lesson 1 gets right into the Arabic alphabet, the Huruf, Al-Hijaya, as they call it.
The core idea here isn't just recognizing the letters, but really mastering them. So you're taught to memorize them forwards and backwards.
Oh, interesting. Why backwards, too?
It's a really effective strategy for instant recall, apparently. Helps solidify it in your mind.
Makes sense.
And what's crucial for you as a learner to grasp is the visual difference. Arabic is written right to left, obviously.
Right.
And most letters change shape depending on where they are in a word, if they're alone, or at the beginning, middle, or end. They connect up.
That's a big hurdle for English speakers, I imagine, the changing shapes.
It can be. But there are some helpful points. The book highlights 6 specific letters that always keep the same shape no matter their position. and they never connect to the letter on their left.
Ah, okay, so that simplifies things a bit. A few constants.
Exactly. It also categorizes letters by how they sound. For instance, it points out 7 heavy letters, the red ones in the book that need a fuller sound, sort of from the back of the throat.
Heavy letters. Okay.
And it gives you these clever little mnemonics, memory aids, to help remember which ones they are, almost like a code to unlock the right pronunciation.
Nice. Okay, so after the alphabet itself.
And we move to lesson 2, the 3 basic Arabic vowels. Al-Harakat. You've got Fatha, Kasra, and Dhamma.
How do these work? Are they like R vowels?
Kind of. Think of them like the short vowel sounds in English, the A in cat, I in pin, U in put. They're quick sounds that combine with the letters to make syllables.
Got it. Short and simple.
Then, building on that, lesson 3 introduces the long vowels, Huruf al-Mad. These are specific letters that basically stretch out those short vowel sounds.
Ah, so like the E in C or U in moon, longer sounds.
Precisely. That distinction between short and long vowels is really important in Arabic for meaning and rhythm.
Okay, what's next?
Lesson 4 brings in the double vowels at Tanween. Now, these are interesting. They look like doubled up short vowels.
Double vowels, what do they do?
They basically add an N sound at the end of a word, like saying N, or in after the main sound.
Huh. Okay, an N sound. That's different.
Yeah. And then here's where it gets even more detailed. Lesson 5 covers the vowel Sukun.
Sukun. Vowelless.
Right. It's a little circle mark above a letter that means it has no vowel sound. It kind of silences it or makes you pause on the consonant sound.
Okay, a pause.
But here's a cool twist. For 5 specific letters, the book lists them. Kaf, Ta, Ba, Jim, Dal. There's something called the Qalqala effect.
Qalqala, what's that?
It's like a slight bounce or an echo sound when these letters have a sukun, or if they come at the very end of a word when you pause.
A bounce, like a little vibration?
Sort of, yeah. It stops the sound from being completely cut off or swallowed, gives it a distinct, subtle articulation that's quite specific.
Yeah, that's a unique vocal rule. Okay, Qalqala. And then lesson 6?
Lesson 6 introduces Shadda. That's the intensifier. Looks like a little body.
Intensifier. What does it intensify?
The sound of the letter it's on. It's like a command to double that consonant sound. Think of the double T in butter. You stress it slightly more.
Ah, okay. Like stressing a consonant.
Exactly. And a key point the book makes is that 2 letters, Hamza and Aleph, never take a Shadda.
Good to know. Okay, nearly there. Lesson 7.
Finally, lesson 7 covers the connecting Aleph, Alif al-Wasl. This is more about how words link together smoothly, especially how you read the Aleph at the start of certain words when they follow another word. It ensures flow.
Right, making sentences sound smooth rather than choppy.
Precisely.
So for you, the learner listening to this whole structured approach, it really does seem to demystify what could feel overwhelming.
Definitely.
Breaking it down into these 7 manageable steps gives you that clear, progressive path to reading Arabic. It feels respectful of your time, you know?
It's systematic, a gradual buildup. And the book basically assures you, if you nail these 7 lessons, you're equipped. You can read the Quran independently.
That's the goal. Amazing. Okay, so beyond just reading, the book gives incredibly practical guidance on the actual practice of faith, starting with Wudu.
Yes, Wudu, the ritual purification or ablution.
It defines it as cleansing selected parts of the body, symbolizing purity, getting ready for prayer.
Right. And what's really essential to grasp about Wudu, which the book touches on, is the spiritual dimension.
More than just washing.
Oh, much more. It's seen as washing away minor sins, purifying your heart and mind. It's about establishing a clear, direct connection with Allah, preparing yourself mentally and spiritually.
So it elevates a physical act into something deeply spiritual.
Absolutely. It's preparation for communion, essentially.
The book then uses the example of someone named Sifula to detail the steps very clearly.
Yes, it lays out the sequence.
Yeah.
Starting with the intention, saying Bismillah, washing the hands 3 times.
Rinsing the mouth, cleaning the nose, washing the face, hairline to chin, ear to ear, all 3 times.
Washing arms up to the elbows, right then left, wiping the head forehead to back, then back again, and finally cleaning the feet up to the ankles, right then left. 3 times each for most parts.
Very precise. It lays it out perfectly.
And from there, the book provides the actual Arabic text for the calls to prayer, the Adhan and the Iqamah.
Right, which are obviously crucial for the daily rhythm of prayer.
Exactly. And then it outlines the structure of the daily prayers themselves, the Salah. It lists the number of rakat units of prayer for each of the 5 daily prayers.
Let's see if I remember. Fajr is 2.
Correct.
Zuhr is 4. Asr is 4.
Yep.
Maghrib is 3. And Isha is 4.
You got it. 2, 4, 4, 3.
And it doesn't just stop at the number of units. It details the supplications within the prayers too, right? The du'as.
Yes, absolutely. It covers the opening supplication, the Subhanakalahumma, the dua you say when bowing, Subhana Rabbiyal Adhim.
What about coming up from bowing?
The dua after bowing, Sami Allah liman hamida, which is actually only said by the one leading or praying alone in the first rak'ah, followed by Rabbana walakal hamd. Then the dua for prostration, Subhana Rabbiyal Ala.
And between the two prostrations.
A short one, Rabbi Ufurli, asking for forgiveness.
Right, and then the sitting parts.
It includes the first tashahhud, at-tahiyatu lillahi, and then the final tashahhud, which is longer. That includes sending blessings on Prophet Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, and seeking refuge from hellfire, grave torment, the trials of life and death, and the Dajjal.
Wow, it's very comprehensive.
It really covers the core components. And importantly, it doesn't forget the duas immediately after the prayer finishes, the Al-Adhkar bada as-salam.
Ah, the things you say right after saying salam.
Exactly. These post-prayer remembrances are vital for kind of extending that spiritual connection. It mentions key ones like saying astaghfirullah, seeking forgiveness, reciting ayat al-kursi, the verse of the throne.
And the last 3 surahs of the Quran, Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, and Nas.
Yes, those two, along with other specific remembrances, it gives you the full routine.
So the practical takeaway for you, the listener, from this whole section, it seems to be concrete, step-by-step guidance.
Definitely.
It demystifies the rituals, but also really emphasizes why you're doing them, the spiritual meaning.
Exactly. It's not just rote memorization. It's about understanding the intention, the benefit behind each action. And that's invaluable for building that deeper personal connection.
Yeah, connecting the action to the meaning. Powerful. Okay, and finally, we arrive at the art of recitation itself, Tajweed.
Ah, Tajweed. Yes.
What exactly is Tajweed, and why is it given so much attention?
Well, Tajweed is essentially the special way, the correct way, of reciting the Noble Quran. It emphasizes proper, beautiful pronunciation.
So not just reading the words, but saying them correctly.
Precisely. The word Tajweed itself means something like proficiency or making something excellent, being really good at something.
Okay.
The real insight here, I think, is that Tajweed isn't just about following rules. It's about honoring the Quranic text. It's about reciting it exactly as it was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Making sure every letter gets its proper sound.
Its unique sound, yes,
Well,
just as it was intended. You can almost think of it like learning the specific musicality, the precise vocal roadmap of the Quran.
Vocal roadmap. I like that. So how does the book break down something so meticulous? Does it just list rules?
It systematizes them, yeah. It breaks down the various phonetic rules in a structured way. For instance, it details rules for how certain sounds change depending on what comes next.
Like what kind of sounds?
Like the N sound, specifically when it comes from what's called a nun sakina, an N with a sukun, or from Tanween, those double vowels we talked about.
Ah, the ones that add an N sound.
Right. So how that N sound is pronounced depends entirely on the very next letter.
How so?
Well, sometimes the N sound is pronounced very clearly. That's called izhar. Other times, it merges completely into the next letter that's idgham.
Merges, like becomes part of the next sound.
Exactly. Or sometimes it subtly changes. Like if the next letter is a B, the N sound actually changes into an M sound. That's iqlab.
Wow. N becomes M.
And other times, it's sort of hidden or nasalized ikfa. The book explains which letters trigger which rule. It gives mnemonics for these two, grouping the letters.
Okay, that sounds quite detailed. What about other letters? Does the pronunciation of, say, the letter lam in al change? You hear that al prefix a lot.
Yes, it does. That's another fascinating set of rules. This is where the idea of lunar and solar letters comes in lam qamariya and lam shamsiya.
Lunar and solar lam.
Yeah. Basically, when the lam in al is followed by certain letters, the 14 lunar letters you pronounce the L sound clearly. Like an al-qamar, which means the moon. You hear the L.
Okay, al-qamar, got it.
But when the lam is followed by one of the other 14 letters, the solar letters, you don't pronounce the L at all. Instead, you double the sound of that next letter, like an eshams, meaning the sun. No L sound, but the she is doubled.
Ashams. Ah, I see. So the L gets absorbed and the next letter gets stressed.
Exactly. It's all about ensuring a smooth, accurate flow when reciting. The book lists the letters for each category, Again with mnemonics.
Mnemonics seem key here. What about stretching sounds? I've heard that's crucial in Quran recitation. Mad.
Mad, yes, stretching. It's fundamental. Think of it like holding a musical note for a specific length of time.
Okay.
The book categorizes the different types of stretches, explaining when a vowel sound needs to be extended and for how long, usually measured in beats or counts.
Are there different lengths?
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, some stretches are obligatory and quite long, maybe 4 or 5 counts. This happens when a hamza, that glottal stop sound, comes immediately after a long vowel letter within the same word, like in iza ja.
Ja. Okay. Long stretch there.
Right. Then there are others that are permissible, maybe slightly shorter, like 2, 4, or 5 counts, when the hamza appears at the start of the next word, like ina atanaka.
Ina Tanaka. A bit shorter, maybe?
Potentially, yeah, there's
Yeah.
some flexibility there. And there's another major one, mad lazim, which is a really long stretch, like 6 counts, usually when a letter with a shadda follows the long vowel.
Like in Surah Al-Fatiha, with a DH Dalin.
Exactly. That is a mad lazim. The goal is always to preserve the Quranic rhythm and emphasis perfectly.
It really does sound like learning music notation almost. You also mentioned heavy and light letters earlier with the alphabet. Does Tajweed go deeper into that?
It does. Some Arabic letters just inherently have a fuller, heavier sound produced deeper in the throat. Think Qaf or Sod. Others are naturally light and airy, like Sin or Ta.
Okay.
But what's really intriguing, and covered in Tajweed, is that a few letters specifically, Alif, Lam, and Ra, can actually switch. They can be heavy or light, depending on the vowels around them or their position in a word.
So their personality changes based on context.
Kind of, yeah. For example, the letter Ra is usually heavy if it has a Fatha or Dhamma, but light if it has a Kasra. There are specific rules for each case. This level of phonetic precision is what Tajweed aims for.
Wow. This really stands out, doesn't it? Tajweed provides this incredibly meticulous framework. It's about honoring the text, making sure pronunciation lines up with prophetic tradition. It
Sure.
lifts reading from just figuring out words to, well, an art form. It
Yeah.
must enrich the spiritual experience immensely.
Oh, absolutely.
Which raises a big question, I think, for you listening. How does paying such close attention to every phonetic detail actually transform your engagement with the text? Beyond just, understanding the meaning of the words.
It transforms profoundly. Think about learning a musical instrument again. You can just hit the right notes, or you can master the rhythm, the dynamics, the expression, the feeling.
Right.
Tajweed is like that mastery for the Quran. It's about unlocking a deeper connection, emotional, spiritual. It lets you truly feel the inherent beauty and the precision of the text, maybe closer to how it was meant to be felt by those who first heard it. It turns recitation from just reading into this meditative, beautiful act. It's quite profound when you get into it.
Wow, what a journey through Aliful Jannah. We've covered quite a bit. Starting with that deep personal self-reflection,
Those 7 questions.
then building the foundational Arabic literacy lesson by lesson,
The 7 steps to reading.
moving into the practical specifics of daily prayer, Wudu, the duas,
Step-by-step guidance.
and finally, refining the art, the beauty of Quranic recitation through Tajweed.
Bringing it all together.
It feels really comprehensive.
It is. And hopefully this deep dive has given you, the listener, a sense of that structured pathway to foundational knowledge. It offers these practical tools, these insights that go beyond just a typical summary.
Yeah, it's not just scratching the surface.
Right. It's about getting that knowledge maybe more quickly, but also thoroughly. Hopefully fostering some of those aha moments that make learning really stick and connect with you personally.
Definitely. The author quotes in his closing remarks a prophetic saying, "Beautify the Quran with your voices."
Beautiful.
And also a verse from the Quran itself. Recite the Quran in slow, measured, rhythmic tones. This deep dive looking at Aliful Jannah has really shown us the tools for doing just that.
It lays out the how.
Exactly. So maybe a final thought for you to ponder. What might change in your own appreciation or maybe even your practice when you approach learning with this kind of structured, deeply considered intention? Aiming not just for knowledge, but for beauty, for precision, and for that profound spiritual connection we talked about. Having seen this roadmap, what aspect of this structured learning journey might you feel drawn to explore next?